Hello everybody, back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about why it is good to be bored. Why it is good to be bored. Y'all probably looking at me like, what you mean, why is it good to be bored? How does that even make sense? Why is it good to be, what does that even mean? But nah, just wait, stay down a little bit, wait. I'm about to explain to y'all what I mean by this. Why it is good to be bored. Life, it is good to be bored. Sometimes we get so caught up in other things that we don't take the time to sit with our thoughts. I'm gonna say that again. We get so caught up in other things that we don't take the time to sit with ourselves. Why is it good to sit with yourself in a sense of boredom, in a sense of meditation? That's why meditation is so important, because you're literally sitting with yourself when you meditate. You're sitting with your thoughts. But when you're bored, it forces you to find new hobbies. That is the first thing I have on my list. When you're bored, it literally forces you to find new hobbies. It forces you. And a lot of the times, we like to fill ourselves and fill our times with things that we know will keep us from feeling bored. I'm gonna say that again. We like to fill our time with things that we know will keep us from feeling bored. We like to keep ourselves busy with social media, knowing that we should not be scrolling for multiple hours just looking at stuff. A lot of the stuff you see on social media, you don't even remember. You can't tell me what you seen on social media last night. You don't even remember. So we wasting 2 hours scrolling on social media. Like, literally ask yourself, what did you watch on social media 10 minutes ago? What substance does the thing that you watch have on your life? What substance is there? What substance does that bring you? Like, literally, we fill our times up with things that don't matter. So when you're bored, it literally forces you to find things that make sense, that really give you a sense of euphoria within yourself. Like, for example, we watch Netflix and doing all these different things because we're bored, because we don't want to sit with our thoughts. We don't want to find things that really are gonna contribute to our purpose and our calling that God has for our lives. We don't want to sit with ourselves. My second point is, being bored forces you to think and be creative. When you're scrolling on social media, when you're on Netflix, when you're going to the clubs, when you're drinking alcohol, when you're smoking, you're not thinking, you're not being creative. You're literally trying to fill a void. We do a lot of things on this earth to fill a void. We partake in a lot of entertainment activities, social media for hours, going to the club for no purpose, drinking alcohol, watching Netflix. We literally do things to avoid feeling bored, to avoid being by ourselves. God cannot speak to you when you're doing all these different things. God cannot speak to you when you're smoking weed. God cannot speak to you when you're constantly filling your mind with social media. The only time God can speak to you is when you're in a space of quietness, where you're not just run, busy. God cannot speak to you. God always is trying to speak to us. He wants to speak to us, because that's how he gets his glory. That's how he fulfills his purposes for our lives. Is when we're quiet, is when our minds are quiet, when we're able to sit with our thoughts, when we're able to allow God to speak to us, allow to listen to God. You cannot hear from God and understand what you're called to do if you're too busy filling your mind with things of the world. You can't hear from God and hear from TikTok. You can't hear from God and hear from Netflix. You can't hear from God and hear from Instagram. You can't hear from God and hear from stories. You're watching stories on Instagram. You can't hear from God and do both. It's hard. It's impossible. You can't hear it, because you're gonna be confused. You can't hear from God and expect to be doing the things that you did before. You can't have two voices in your head. It's just gonna cause confusion. If God is speaking to you, and then you got social media and all these other different things speaking to you, you're gonna be confused. You're not gonna know what to do. So it's important to literally take time to be bored. Allow yourself to meditate on God's word. Allow yourself to meditate in your own thoughts, because that is when God is going to speak to you. You'll be amazed how God speaks to you when you're literally quiet, when you literally meditate with your own self. That's why a lot of times I take time out of my day and I literally just sit and just look at the wall and just think. I read my word, fill my mind with the spirit, and just sit and just allow God to speak to me. Like I just sit and look at the wall and just, like somebody asked me, like, what you doing? Like I'm literally just sitting, like I'm just sitting with my thoughts, like allowing God to speak to me. You have to have those moments in the day where you just sit with your thoughts. And that leads me to my next point. Being bored forces you to be alone with your thoughts. I'm gonna repeat that. Being bored forces you to be alone with your thoughts. You cannot be on go, listening to music, watching Netflix, watching movies, constantly being entertained and being able to sit with your thoughts. It is important to sit with your thoughts, to understand how you feel, to understand what you want to do with your life, to speak to yourself. Like you literally have to speak to yourself. You literally have to hear from yourself. You literally have to hear from God. You can't fill your mind up with things of the world constantly because you're not going to know what you want to do in your life. You're not going to know. So it's important to take time to really just be bored, be alone, be by yourself, allow God to speak to you, allow God to work from you and work within you. Like just allow God to just take time to really just be alone, just be bored within your thoughts. I hope this video is important, and I hope this video truly helps somebody because being bored is super important. It is. Yeah, hope this helps somebody.